Hello, everybody. We are coming to you today with a practitioner tip. At the Slow Medicine Collective, Megan and I work a lot with one-on-one clients, and that's, as we have for decades in healthcare. And we also work with groups, but we also work with mentoring practitioners and supporting practitioners. And so we are committing to sharing these, like insider kind of practitioner tips that we have really gathered and learned over time through lots of experience and trial and error and working with hundreds of people in hopes that they are helpful, because we know it can feel really lonely when you are a practitioner and you're kind of on your own and you're wondering, is this working, or am I doing something wrong here? Or is this something I'm missing? So we're hoping that we can just share some of these things that we have seen time and time again, and even new things for us, in hopes that can help you. So today we want to talk about how to work with what we call a sped up client. So this is actually like many of us right now, but this is the client that maybe comes to you. They have been dealing with a lot of health issues for a long time, and they may have gotten some success in different areas. They've worked with different practitioners, but ultimately, like, they're still not really finding, I guess, the root or like resolution to a lot of their symptoms. And it's causing a lot of stress, a lot of worry, a lot of panic, a lot of anxiety. And I find I see people a lot in this place that have been dealing with chronic stuff for a while that start to go down the rabbit hole of, oh my gosh, maybe it's my SIBO, maybe it's my hormones, maybe it's this diet, maybe it's histamine, maybe it's that, maybe it's, and then we get to a place where we get so kind of overloaded and sped up out of desperation of wanting to feel better, that we can get ourselves into a pretty like worked up place, I think. So this is the client that comes to you in that place where they like are really want to heal and are really motivated and really want to do the thing, but might be feeling all over the place, might be presenting as really, really scattered, might have difficulty focusing on actually achieving action steps or even sticking to anything, might be the one that comes to you that's like, okay, I read about this, or this person on Instagram told me this. What do you think about this? What do you think about this? And there's just, you can just tell there's a lot going on and spiraling. Anything else you want to add to that one, Megan?
Yeah, I think this whole video is to help you as practitioners also not get on their train, because that is very, very, very common, where it's like we get someone who comes in and they heard something from this practitioner and they heard another thing from this practitioner, they learned something from this course, and they want to you're as a practitioner, it's all coming from a really good place, but it's like you want to implement it all. And when the client comes in super sped up, it's really easy for us as practitioners to jump onto their train. But in fact, what we're trying to bring to you today in this video is how to slow your train down even more, so that it's going at a speed where the sped up person can jump ship and land on our train.
Yes, absolutely. And it's just not sustainable for us to get on those trains. And ultimately it doesn't. And I've
That's right.
gotten on them.
Yeah.
I've gotten on them. Yes. And ultimately it doesn't help either person. And we want to be the train that's different. Like, we want to stop that, so that we can stop that cycle. So we're going to lay out 3 steps or 3 things that we think about when we're doing this. So the first one is to just firstly acknowledge what's going on with the client. So, they can come in and be really sped up. And if we jump straight onto that train with them, it's often because we want to make sure that like we're giving them everything they need, like we're meeting them where they're at. Oh my gosh, they want to do this, 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 they want this information. Well, I have that knowledge. I can give it to them. So sometimes we skip over the place of just saying, wait a second. I just want to acknowledge that you are feeling really overwhelmed. Like, I want to acknowledge that you have tried 1.5 million different things and you're feeling a feeling of desperation. Like, sometimes it's like saying the thing that's very obvious right there, but we often don't say it to the person just because we want to make sure we're giving them what they need. So I see it as just acknowledging what's happening, like acknowledging that they're coming in a very sped up state.
One way I like to word it to people is as an invitation. Can I share with you what I'm seeing based on everything you just shared with me? Can I share with you what I just heard and what my reflection of it is? Are you feeling open to a different, you're coming in and you have a really clear idea on what you think you need? Are you open to me sharing with you what I'm seeing so that we can possibly walk down a slightly different path that's going to serve you? It's all about the question. It's bringing in the question and allowing the invitation to help to slow the person down. And oftentimes those questions and that invitation of the, seeing the person and that person feeling seen is the first step in helping them to regulate and come back.
Yeah. And we have some practitioner questions that we've put together that we love that I'll link at the bottom of this video that you can download and have. So you can use those questions if you're feeling stuck, and it can help kind of, get off of that train and bring you back into what is happening right now. So the second piece is creating a container for them to be able to slow down. So Megan, maybe you'd actually jump into that one.
Yeah, so it's really easy for us as practitioners to see somebody that's coming in that's really sped up, that, is amped, and they are hyper ready to do anything that's going to help them feel better because they're feeling terrified, they're feeling sick, they are, they'll do anything to just get to a place where they feel better. And it's the easy way out as a practitioner is, oh, just slow down. Like, we just need to slow this down. When in fact, our job is not necessarily to tell the person to slow down, but is to create a container that we are holding for them so that the person actually can slow down. And that is, one of your examples earlier, Christina, of, wanting to do 10 different things and like feeling like the practitioners aren't seeing all of the moving pieces. But in fact, it's creating the container where all of the pieces are held. And instead of them being out in the universe and feeling like nobody's watching them, the container is what holds them, so that then we are step by step able to implement strategy. But the strategy has to come after the container is created and built for the person.
Yes. And I find this as when people go on a healing journey, they may start out at first by having the container of the conventional medical system. That is a container. Then they realize that that container actually might not be able to help them if they're dealing with complex chronic issues. So then they start to say, well, I have some control over this. And that's a beautiful, beautiful, empowering thing. But once we get to the place where it's, oh, I have control over this, then it can sometimes spiral into a sped up place of, I'm the only one that is holding all the pieces. I'm the only one that's holding all this together. I'm completely burdened by having to become a nutritionist, therapist, whatever, overnight in order to just support my body and be healthy. So I find with people, it's like reestablishing a container where it's our job as the practitioner to hold those pieces for you, so that you're not, there's going to be a feeling of, I can't actually drop anything or slow down because I have to be hyper vigilant and hold all the pieces because no one else is going to. And that's what I learned. So that's a really, really common client experience that I've seen. So that container is really helpful in allowing that. And then the third, this kind of goes into our third piece of like laying out a plan or laying out a roadmap for people can be really, really soothing. It's kind of the same as a container. And obviously everyone's journey is going to be a little bit different, but it's that idea of, I often say to people, I'm holding the big picture for you. And in our intake forms and the way I do, organize people's health information, I always create a big picture for them. And I tell them, I'm holding the big picture here, but sometimes we might go really narrow and specific. And I want you to know that you can rest into this bigger picture. Like the pieces are being held. Like I'm not missing or forgetting anything for you. And so I often will give like some clear steps of where we're going to go so that they can see, okay, even if I'm just doing from step A to B right now, I know that Christina has in her mind that there's a bigger roadmap here. And that can oftentimes soothe people a lot and allow them to actually slow down.
Yep. Agree.
Amazing. The only other thing that we had here is that one of Megan's mottos that you will hear is take what they think they need and divide it in two.
Yeah. Take what they
So
think they can do and divide it in two. So it always has to rhyme.
yeah,
Take what they think they can do and divide it in two. So if someone comes in super sped up, they're going to think they can implement the histamine diet, implement their, supplements that we're bringing in, implement meditation 3 times a week, implement. And that's great. I'm not saying that energy isn't wonderful, but in order for this to be sustainable, and again, this is healing takes time, healing takes energy, and we want it to be sustainable. So taking what they think they can do and dividing it in two for that session and for however long is in between your next. And that's, especially for practitioners. I know for years I struggled with feeling like I needed to give because people were paying me. And I wanted to make sure that I was of value. And that was about me. That wasn't about the client. And that is so, so important. We have to put the client first. We have to put their nervous system first, even if they think they can do a ton, holding that container, holding that boundary for them so that they can build relationship with the steps they're making is by far more important than knowing every single supplement and food that will go into a diet and protocol.
yes, beautifully said. So we hope that that is helpful in working with a sped up client. And if you have any other ideas or things that you want support with, we're going to be doing these videos. So just email us at hello@slowmedicinecollective.com and or you can leave a comment on this video and then we'll be able to put that into our next one for you. All right, thanks.